Has it really been that long since my addiction started? I never thought I would ever think about this game again. Lego friggin' Dimensions. From 2015 to 2018, I was obsessed with this game. Like, I would not shut up about it, constantly making pictures and videos about it until it became an annoyance to, well, at least one of you out there. But would you really blame me, though? Aside from the juggernaut of content of the later Skywalker Saga game, this was the biggest game LEGO and Traveler's Tales ever made. Why? 1. They had a 3-year-long plan for the game, releasing 15 different unique worlds, levels, gold bricks, and even little LEGO tie-in games within a LEGO game. 2. The worlds themselves would be from loads of beloved popular franchises that everyone loves. Metropolis, Middle-earth, Hogwarts, Gotham City, the Land of Oz, etc. And 3. The way you access all of these lovable worlds and characters is by building actual Legos, little tiny bricks that you click together into charming little mini builds with actual instructions. I mean, come on, everyone loved playing and building with Legos as a kid, so why wouldn't anyone want to relive their childhood memories with this game? I mean, it connected with me. I remember buying and building a Lego City cement mixer while on holiday, and I liked the process. Everyone knows about my obsession with this game back in the day, so why am I fueling it again with this video? Well, honestly, the only reason I'm talking about Dimensions again is because I kept seeing videos on top of videos revisiting the game, discussing its history and its cancellation all throughout 2024, nearing the game's 9th anniversary. Yeah, I can't explain why everybody was doing it. It's weird.
There I am, Gary, there I am!
So, after all of this, I suddenly decided, fuck it, I'm going to dust off all of these old minifigures, set the game back up again, and replay the entire game to see if it still holds up after 10 years. And later, I will talk to you about the cut franchises and figures from the cancelled 3rd year of content. But for now, the toy pad is glowing, I'm ready. Let's talk about the gameplay. If you have ever played a LEGO game within the past 20 years, you know, LEGO Star Wars, LEGO Harry Potter, LEGO Marvel, etc., then LEGO Dimensions isn't too far off from the structure and rewards from those ones. You'll have a story mode of 15 levels containing 10 mini-kits to find, a civilian to rescue, a gold brick unlocked from grabbing as many studs as possible, a boss battle at the end, and plenty of puzzles only accessible to characters outside of the story mode characters. And like every game since LEGO Batman 2, there are hub worlds to access all of the levels, or fully explorable ones with side quests, puzzles, races, and tons of gold bricks. It may not look any different from the previous 20 games, but the differing trait of LEGO Dimensions is this: the toy pad and the toy tags. Every character and vehicle the game has to offer are represented by these little tags that you have to place onto the toy pad to accomplish anything. Starting the game, entering a specific level or hub world, using a specific ability for either a mini-kit or a gold brick. You can't do any of that unless one character tag is on the base. And to further differentiate itself from other LEGO games, half of the puzzles in the game require you to move the tags around in specific places in order to succeed. Case in point, the keystones. There are different keystones for different puzzles, each of them unlocked and demonstrated the more you progress through the story mode. The way to solve them is by, again, moving the characters you have already got on the toy pad around. For example, the chroma keystone requires you to match the base's light to the same colors matched on the screen. Once the in-game characters are in all three primary colors, you need to move the physical minifigures around to match what the game wants, sometimes mixing two at once to make secondary colors. Other keystones include one that gives the characters elemental powers, one that enlarges them or shrinks them down, one that teleports them to locked off areas, and one that acts as a metal detector to summon something from a different dimension. This one was always my favorite, since you never know what charming unrelated Easter egg will spawn out of that portal. I know the toy pad mechanic is what's going to turn most players away from this game, especially since you need to buy a convention trip's worth of money to complete everything. But I don't mind this mechanic too much. I'm glad that they are making the LEGO that you have bought more than just shelf fodder. They were trying to make them more interactive. But it can get a little tiring to stop what you're doing to either move a character to the other side of the base or search for a different one entirely to add in the level, especially when they bombard you with specific ability after specific ability. Like this one requires levitation. Okay, I've got Newt Scamander, but wait, I now need the lightning ability? Okay, let's see. Hey, here we go. Raven. Oh, now a sword switch? Okay, Finn the Human. Now there's ghosts in the way? A Ghostbuster, a towing wall, the Batmobile, breakable glass, Marty McFly, portal walls. Chell. God's sake. And some bits of the toy pad gameplay just didn't hit me the right way. Like those moments in boss fights that freeze you in place and you have to move your current character to the other side of the base before the boss vaporizes you. It just breaks the flow of the gameplay for me. I came here to relax after a workday, not to give my arms a workout. The originally made keystone in the Fantastic Beasts levels had me confused as to what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to place the character on the three glowing parts of the toy pad. I thought you were supposed to do this in a specific order, but you can go red, blue, green, or blue, red, green, etc. All that changes is that the brick piles in-game changes into a different animal depending on the color order. Is that it? There are moments in the story pack levels that require you to move the character to different parts of the base to use certain abilities. The Batman one isn't too bad, since you have to place him on a single space to use a detective ability. The Abby Yates one is a bit slow, since you have to move her around to a corresponding order to activate her PKE meter. But Newt Scamander's lockpicking ability is the worst of all three, since it's the same deal as the PKE meter sequence, but you have to do it 3 successful times in a row while moving the picket with the left thumbstick to open just a single chest. This ability got real old real quick for me. But while the lockpicking sequences bored me, the hacking minigames frustrated me. using a brainy character like the Doctor or Dr. Emmett Brown or someone, you have to navigate through a virtual maze to switch off these red buttons. But these grey virus thingies come from hell. There are loads of them. They are all around you. They can kill you while you're in the middle of hacking, and their move patterns are unpredictable. You can ground pound them away, but that never fucking works. So I have to move the Doctor around on the base to unlock a color-coded part of the maze just to avoid them. But I'm always afraid that they will jump over to me too quickly, so I have to pause the game to move the Doctor around. I don't know how any of the playtesters thought this was a good idea, but I groaned every time I saw those blue panels. And now I'm going to talk about some me problems that I personally had while playing the game. Firstly, the mini builds. I haven't touched these things in over 6 years, but these specific bricks, the one with holders on, kept snapping off, breaking the build and ruining the illusion. I think this is because of the force of holding a rotted piece for so many years with no movement whatsoever. But regardless, the sentry turret, Ethan Hunt's bike, and Aquaman's watercraft are broken, with none of the sets having any extra holder bricks, and no easy way to replace them without spending a fortune on shipping from the LEGO online store. I was originally thinking on taking all of these builds apart and rebuilding them all over again, just to get the joy of building Legos back into my system. But now, I don't want to touch these things with a 10-foot pole again, in fear of breaking off even more of the holders, even when moving them around on the toy pad. Another reason my heart isn't into these things anymore? They fucking died on me. Seriously, during the time-consuming process of scanning all of the vehicle tags and all of their upgrades, I had 2 of them that just refused to be saved, no matter how many times I've placed them on or waited in vain. Arthur Weasley's car and Stripe's giant camera. I've looked up what the hell could be happening here, and it turns out that the toy tags die over time if they hadn't been used for a while. Now that's just fucking great. Someday in the future, none of these tags will be usable because they would have suffered the same fate as Wii U's. And that meant every time I summoned Harry Potter for a spell, the instructions for the car kept popping up in-game, so I had to back out of them every time. Thankfully, none of the level or story mode tags died on me. Every single one of my character tags was still active, and I only had 2 vehicle tags that gave up on life. But I'm worried that I won't be able to sell all of these tags when the time comes, because they all would have died a week after being bought. Also, I was replaying the Xbox 360 version of the game. So, in layman's terms, I was playing a game built for the Xbox One on a previous generation console, which meant I had a lot of problems and glitches on my end. One time, I was playing the game like normal, I paused the game for 20 minutes to have my dinner, and 2 minutes after I got back, the game was stuck on this summoning portal animation indefinitely. I added in 1 or 2 more characters onto the pad, I took every character off, I put on a different central character. Nothing changed, so I had to turn the console off and then go back in. But the infinite portal thing didn't happen anywhere close to the amount of times the game froze and crashed on me while in the middle of a quest or a level. So I had to turn the console off, turn it back on, enter the game, wait for over 90 minutes until I can skip the title cutscene, wait for the saved file to load, wait for the game itself to load, and then head back into the level. And what's even better, if the game froze on the first level of the story mode, you'll have to sit through the entire 5 minutes of the introduction, or the first unskippable cutscene of the level you have just started. Or, if the game froze in a Year 2 world, then you have to waste even more of your time going through the shard portal and then going into the hub world's loading portal screen. I think I'm growing more and more impatient over the years, especially with the amount of projects I'm doing for online. But God! Not to mention, most of the Year 2 hub worlds didn't have certain gold brick or quest icons show up on the radar map, so I'm flying around for many minutes trying to see where that damn last gold brick is. Most of the time, the music drowns out all of the character dialogue. Like, even with subtitles, I can barely hear most of the characters in this version. I had to look up how you were supposed to complete this laser puzzle in the A-Team world because it was bugged beyond belief. And I don't know what I did with my Xbox 360 controller all those years ago, but it makes this game almost unplayable. Firstly, jamming the A button in so hard when I was a kid once made it really flimsy and weak now. Listen carefully to the buttons. And secondly, the battery pack on the back is downright broken. Yeah, I know, it's a battery-operated controller, not a wired rechargeable one. I was a peasant. Just the tiniest nudge from my hands or placing it down on any surface causes the controller to turn itself off. So around half of my time playing this marathon of a game was being interrupted by this screen and holding down the home button to turn the controller on again. Sometimes it does what I want it to, but then other times it doesn't. I don't know why it keeps disconnecting as often as this. I replaced the batteries with new ones, I handled it as gently as possible, I even replayed Sonic Generations to see how badly it handles. The controller didn't fuck me over as often in that game, and it requires a lot more sudden movement and button presses than any Lego game. I just want to hit my child self with this controller for being so rough with it. So overall, the gameplay isn't all too bad. It's just any normal Traveler's Tales Lego game, but with a forceful Toys-to-Life peripheral attached to it in order to complete it. The putting on and throwing away aspect of the toy tags can be a bit boring at times, and they interrupt the pace of the game. But hey, I've dealt with worse control schemes, which didn't require a wired toy pad plugged in. But one question keeps popping up in my mind. How in the hell can Traveler's Tales even re-release this game? It's just borderline impossible. I'm not just talking about all of the IPs that they would need to ask permission from again. I meant, how can you translate the required toy pad gameplay into a re-release that has none? You pretty much can't. Sure, the character screen can be the same as all of those other games during free play mode, but How can you summon the vehicles? How can you use the locate keystone ability with the warmer or colder aspect on the toy pad? What about the chroma keystone? The scale keystone? Newt's lockpicking ability? The PKE meter? Batman's detective skills? The bosses freezing you into place? I don't see a console-only, controller-exclusive solution for any of them. It's really sad because I want everyone to see the giant, amazing crossover aspect of the game and all of the levels and fan service that it has to offer in a more universal and less expensive way. Speaking of crossovers, now let's talk about the main reason I would never shut up about this game. It was one of the largest, most detailed, most interactive, most insane crossovers I have ever seen, and maybe I have still seen, even after a decade has gone by. I mean, what else did we even have? Multiverses? That's all just Warner Brothers IPs. Space Jam 2, the Looney Tunes hardly would have interacted with all of the franchises they shamelessly plugged in just 90 minutes. The only ones that have come close to this game's crossover levels are Avengers Endgame and all of the movies building up to it, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Those two were also insane and unexpected. But even then, Endgame only had heroes and villains from the same comic company, and Ultimate had loads of third-party characters, sure, especially the DLC, but they all had to be game characters. There was no way in hell we could have Donald and Goofy with Sora in this game. But with LEGO Dimensions, you had not only comic book characters, not only game-exclusive characters along with them, not only Warner Brothers IPs along with them, but franchises from so many third-party studios. The list of representations under the same roof is just unbelievable. DC Comics, Lord of the Rings, The Lego Movie, Wizard of Oz, The Simpsons, Ninjago, Doctor Who, Portal, Back to the Future, Legends of Chima, Jurassic World, Midway Arcade, Ghostbusters, Scooby-Doo, Harry Potter, The A-Team, Mission Impossible, that Ghostbusters reboot nobody likes, Adventure Time, Gremlins, Sonic the Hedgehog, The Goonies, the only decent one of the Fantastic Beast movies, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Beetlejuice, Knight Rider, Powerpuff Girls, the Lego Batman movie, Lego City Undercover, and Teen Titans Go. And that's not even including franchises only showcased through singular levels, like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, the CW Arrowverse, the Matrix, 2001 A Space Odyssey, and Red Dwarf of all things. I can never seem to process how ginormous, varied, and mind-blowing this game is. I mean, how in the fuck did TT Games do all this? Whose balls did they have to fondle to have all of these franchises in the same game, with most of their original actors, most of their respective soundtracks, with this much detail, this many references, and each character interacting with each other?
Like a guy made of marshmallow. That is totally groovy.
I wonder if this fellow knows anything about that three-eyed fish I saw earlier.
Dude, I want to be you when I grow up.
Hey, wait a minute. There's no such thing as a talking dog.
E.T. game. Could.
Uh-oh, it's Starfire, the only one who can rival my adorableness.
So, Raven, you're saying it's Azeroth, Metreon, Zinthos. It doesn't seem to work for me.
Lumpy space princess, huh? Last time I met a princess, we
I don't quite remember. Never mind.
Me? Time travel? Oh, no, I couldn't do a thing like that.
Hey, Bane, I got my eye on you. You even think about double-crossing me, your name's gonna be changed to Pain, fool.
Now see here, little Miss Scene Stealer. I'm the star of the show.
That reminds me, I should really go check out the Middle Ages.
Cool, another vampire. You want to go grab some red with me? Wait, is that a mask?
There is something awfully familiar about you, Mr. Dino Wrangler Man. I feel like we've met before.
Careful you don't rust, Tin Man.
No, Harry, yeah, I know I'm wearing green, but I am not in Slytherin. Honest.
Scans detect you are scared. We can convert you and remove your fear.
Say, didn't I pass your home planet on my way to Earth?
A portable personal transportation device? Incredible! You must let me take a look at it.
Hey, Bart, remember, if you see a gold brick lying around, just take it! Take it, take it, take it, take it! Take it!
Oh my, what's this? Is it a goblin? Or a breed of doxy, perhaps? Gosh, how unusual. I must make a note of this.
Batman!
Hey, I understood what that dog said. I'm not limited to talking to fish anymore. Oh, wait, it's Scooby-Doo.
Can I drink one of your hearts? I mean, it's not like you need both of them or anything.
Ooh, spaceship. Take E.T. home.
You're Newt Scamander. I love your book. My friends and I, made so many notes in it.
Hey, Hermione, you're into magic too, huh? I don't really have a Patronus. Unless Beast Boy counts.
I prefer dogs of the robot variety myself. They're not all slobbery and can talk properly.
Nice briefcase. You mogwai seller?
Beast Boy, eh? Can you transform into Fantastic Beast? A Niffler, maybe? A demiguise?
So, Doctor, something happens to you where you're basically the same person, but your looks and personality almost completely change? Wow, glad that's never happened to the Teen Titans.
I may look cute, but if you try and scare me, I'm gonna punch you straight into space. So, nice to meet you, Mr. Slimer.
Like, you have no idea how huge all of this is. You can have Gandalf the Grey driving the Batmobile in the Land of Oz. You can have Harley Quinn playing with BMO in Hogwarts. You can have Beast Boy drive the DeLorean to 1885. You can have Scooby-Doo holding the Ghost Trap in the Netherworld. You can have Sonic the Hedgehog flying the TARDIS through Aperture Science Labs. And with me only scratching the surface with just those examples alone, you can begin to imagine why my family spent around multiply, divide by that, £1,094.55 on 45 of the 67 available sets. Jesus Christ! No wonder the game was cancelled. No one wants to spend that much money to complete a video game. The amount of detail that was poured into all of these hub worlds, the story mode levels, the level pack levels, even down to the mini build upgrades, deserves massive respect. While some of the hub worlds only have one location to go through, since either the franchise has only 1 or 2 movies, or there was just not enough material to work with, some of the worlds have combined major locations of the property together. Like in the DC world, Metropolis and Gotham City are merged together with Atlantis right underneath due to the game's dimensional tampering. In Doctor Who, once you have unlocked the entire world, you have 21st century London right next to Victorian London, next door to Trenzalore, close to Mars, and from viewing distance from Skaro. In Oz, the Emerald City isn't really that far away from the Munchkin Land, and if you follow the Red Brick Road, you will fall through the clouds and back into Kansas. That bitch of the North gave Dorothy the wrong advice. There are masses of Easter eggs sprinkled all throughout each world and each level. Most of the Goonies level is centered around a giant octopus, which was a deleted scene from the original film. If you look very closely when flying around in the portal levels, you can just see Doug Ratman running away in the background. The Back to the Future mini-kit build is Biff Tannen's 1955 car, and you have to move it to avoid manure, which was a running gag with Biff in all three movies. The Mission Impossible world has a bigger focus on side quests, like someone giving missions to a spy. The Knight Rider world has a bigger emphasis on races and vehicle activities, since Michael Knight's best friend is a talking car. The Lego City world has little moments where you have to stop and capture criminals as Chase McCain. God, I love that game. It's such a nice game for me to just sit back, relax, and drive slowly around the city. I mean, who wouldn't love a game where you can be in control of Tayo the Little Bus, Postman Pat's van, Yorkie, Big Blue, Rolly, Scrambler, and Mr. Bean's Mini? But my top 3 favorite franchises represented in this game are the 3 that I have grown up with and loved the most. Number 3, Harry Potter. It's my favorite movie series of all time. All of the locations I recognized and loved the detail in them instantly. Hogwarts Castle, the herbology classes, the Forbidden Forest, Hagrid's Hut, Grimmelwald's Place, the Ministry of Magic, Diagon Alley, the Burrow, Bumblebedderton, the Chamber of Secrets. That tunnel from the beginning of Order of the Phoenix, for some reason. Fighting Bellatrix Lestrange, racing against Draco Malfoy on Quidditch brooms, searching for invisible Thestrals. There is just a lot for fans to like. When I heard Robbie Coltrane and Mark Williams' voices coming out of Hagrid and Arthur Weasley respectively, my heart felt as warm as a dragon egg. I was surprised to hear one of the student characters, Neville Longbottom, voiced by his original actor, who was nearing his 30s at that point. And out of all of the characters they would have included, I am as happy as a free house elf that one of them was that precious little Noggle, Luna Lovegood.
I came out here to feed some of the Thestrals, but a few of them seem to have wandered off. I suspect it's the work of Raxperts. They float in through your ears and make your brain go fuzzy.
Number 2, Doctor Who. I was in love with the series ever since 2007. It was one of my childhood obsessions, and I still think that series 1 to 4 is one of the best shows I have ever seen. Most of the episodes have aged brilliantly and have managed to stand the test of time, which is especially important since the show itself is about time travel. When I first saw the TARDIS appear in the 4th story mode level, I squealed with childlike joy. And it seems I'm not the only Doctor Who superfan around here, because the game's producers and crew certainly are. I could easily tell that they were when K9 was one of the level pack's mini-builds. They don't use K9 in the show itself anymore, but Traveller's Tales actually remembered the Tin Dog. The amount of references, characters, locations, monsters, villains, allies, and music pieces in just 2 levels and a hub world are off the charts. Cybermen, Cybermats, the Cyberman theme from Series 2, Clara Oswald, the cracks in time, weeping angels, trapping them in the same way they did in Blinked, Bad Wolf, the mind-blowing twist of You Are Not Alone, the SS Pompadour, the time-traveling fireplace, the clockwork droids, the Daleks, the Dalek Emperor, the despised red drone Daleks from Series 5, Nicholas Briggs's lovable voices for them, fucking Davros, the mini-kits are the Pandorica, recreating the current intro sequence at the time, a Jadoon officer, the special weapons Dalek from the Sylvester McCoy era, Autons, the giant robot from Tom Baker's era, the Valiant, the Tortoise Lane Junkyard, the Cyber King from the Next Doctor. Only much smaller. Trenzalore, the Silence, the Snowman, Missy, Scarrow, Unit Headquarters, the Brigadier, a board full of past companions, the Last Day Portrait, the Genesis Arc, Omega, Bessie, a reference to the 5 Doctors, the Master's TARDIS, Vincent van Gogh's TARDIS painting from Series 5, Davros's Escape Pod, the 3W facility, Zygons, Madame Vestra, Silurians in general, and their underground world, Telos, Captain Jack Harkness, him referencing the face of Bo. Quite a coincidence. The base from Waters of Mars, the Ice Warriors, the Ood, Strax representing the Sontarans, the telescope from Tooth and Claw, Rusty the friendly Dalek, the Doctor can regenerate himself into his previous 12 forms every time he dies in the game, including the War Doctor, and the interior of the TARDIS changes into the console room seen from each specific Doctor's run. My god, I don't think any other franchise in this game has this many callbacks and Easter eggs in them. Well, I guess if a rich, lore-heavy series has lasted for over 52 years, and not too long after a massive anniversary special, I guess it was inevitable. At number 1, Sonic the Hedgehog. My favorite movie series of all time, my favorite TV show of all time, and my favorite game series of all time, all in the same game. I never would have imagined that in a million years. This old upload of mine from 2016 says it all. I screamed in excitement and couldn't sleep for days ever since the E3 trailer announcing Year 2, and Sonic boosts in grabbing the One Ring of Power. It's like the trailer said to me, "Oh yeah, you bet your ass we're doing this now. Get your senses ready, kid. They're going to be tested." Given how content and reference heavy the Doctor Who inclusion was, I was ecstatic knowing that Sonic the Hedgehog will be getting the same respected tribute. And I was right. The singular level pack did not disappoint. At all. This felt like a love letter to the franchise, just in time for its 25th anniversary. Yeah, we had to wait until the next year to play Sonic Mania, the mainstream anniversary game. The amount of references and callbacks to Sonic's history is so plentiful that I made an entire, very popular video as it seems, showcasing most of them. Yeah, most of them. That wasn't even all of them. They shadow dropped in another reference when Marceline's pack was released.
Hey, Vampire Lady, did I hear that you turn into a wolf sometimes? I sure know that feeling.
And actually playing as Sonic was one of the best, most satisfying parts of the whole game. They made the hub world large enough for him to run around in, with loads of races, rings, homing attack chain opportunities, and loop-de-loops. And there were loads of iconic locations here. Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sandopolis, Carnival Night, Emerald Coast, the Death Egg, the Sonic 2 special stages, and Aquatic Ruins, which Sonic can't even visit, apparently. But wait, he can go underwater in the labyrinth part of his level, but Why not aquatic ruins? Just to keep with the Sonic Can't Swim Easter egg? Okay. And the references are too many to list. The Master Emerald Palace, the robot generators from CD, the Tails doll, Carnival Knight's Barrel of Doom, acknowledging Omochao as an obnoxious hints and tips tool, Shadow holding a gun, him honoring Maria, Silver Sonic from Sonic 2, Eggman reciting many of his famous quotes. Get a load of this! No way! I can't believe this! It's no use! Give up! You know what they say, the more the merrier! The fucking Sonic Adventure music! Diddle-doo, 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 bam, bam! Do-do-do-do-do, diddle-doo-doo-doo, diddle-doo, diddle-doo-doo-doo-doo, diddle-doo-doo-doo, diddle-doo-doo! So sorry, I think I've just gone mad with joy. I loved the Sonic content that much. Getting back on point, the side quests in the hub worlds are handed out by loads of side characters. Marty McFly's ancestors and descendants, Fred, Daphne, and Velma, in-game Midway arcade characters, Professor Utonium, Car, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, Lydia Deeds, Vigo, the Ice King, and I could just keep going. Not only that, but most of the characters in the game have been reprised by their original actors. This element here is what solidifies this as a true crossover, and one of the best ones ever conceived. It just wouldn't be the same without the originals. The ever-expanding cast list is as follows. Troy Baker, Christopher Coy Smith, Laura Bailey, Elijah Wood, Sean Austin, Elizabeth Banks, Charlie Day, Alison Brie, Chris Pratt, Nick Offerman, Peter Capaldi, Nicholas Briggs, Julian Bleach, Jenna Coleman, Michelle Gomez, John Bowerman, Neve McIntosh, Dan Starkey, Ellen McLean, Stephen Merchant, Nolan North, J.K. Simmons, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Frank Welker, Matthew Lillard, Mindy Kahn, Gray Delisle, Bruce Dallas, Irfan Khan, Nick Robinson, Ty Simpkins, Jake Johnson, Paul Figg, Robbie Coltrane, Mark Williams, Matthew Lewis, Ivana Lynch, Jeremy Shader, John DiMaggio, Pendleton Ward, Olivia Olson, Nikki Yang, Polly Lou Livingston, D. Bradley Baker, Ron Perlman, Jessica DeSico, Jeff Bennett, Justin Roiland, Henry Zerny, Simon Pegg, Emmanuel Bart, Dwight Schultz, Eddie Redmayne, Dan Folger, Catherine Waterston, Alison Sudol, fuck off, Faith Wood McGrove, Tom Jogo, Roger Craig Smith, Colleen Villard, I'm supposed to hate you now, Travis Willingham, Cindy Robinson, Kirk Thornton, Oliver Wyman, Howie Mandel, Phoebe Cates, Will Arnett, Rosario Dawson, William Daniels, Peter Cullen, Joseph May, Jamie Bobakoff, Trevor White, Kerry Shale, Amanda Layton, Christian Lee, Natalie Palamides, Tom Kane, Tom Kenny, Roger L. Jackson, Haley Mancini, Anais Fairweather, Jennifer Hale, Eric Boza, Scott Manville, Harry Payton, Greg Sipes, I'm supposed to hate you now, Hyndon Walsh, Pamela Adlon, and Ashley Johnson. And I'm pretty sure I've butchered most of those names. Now that's already a lot of reprising actors for such a massive amount of content, although they couldn't bring every single actor from each franchise back. I mean, some recasts were justifiable, since their original actors had either passed away decades prior or were played by child actors, all 30 to 40-year-olds at this point, and so they needed voice actresses who can do young boy voices. Plus, none of the Ninjago or Chima actors got to be in the game, because its voice recording sessions were set in Los Angeles, while the TV casts were stuck in Canada. But some recasts, I don't quite understand. I mean, Tom Kane instead of Sir Ian McKellen or Michael Gambon, Erica Lindbeck instead of Emma Watson, Pyotr Michael, because David Hasselhoff was apparently unavailable. Liam Neeson was also unavailable, while the rest of the movie's cast was. Ghostbusters was recast. The entire A-Team was recast, except for Murdoch. They had Batman and Barbara's VAs from the movie in here, but not Robin's or the Joker's, and I know it was based on the shitty reboot airing at the time, so they had to be consistent, but everyone would have wanted the original voices of the girls back once more. I mean, if the crew thought the game's audience would have at least heard of Knight Rider, the A-Team, the Goonies, Gremlins, and Mission Impossible 1, then why not appeal to the people who would have preferred the original Powerpuff Girls? And there are other characters in the game, more notably the original Ghostbusters, Ethan Hunt, Harry Potter, He Who Must Not Be Named, Legolas, Gimli, the 12 previous Doctors, and the Simpsons characters. They opted to use archive audio from the original source materials to fill in the gaps. I can understand this decision in some cases. Tom Cruise is hard to get a hold of. Getting every actor from Tom Baker to Matt Smith would have strained the game's budget, and EA owned the rights to make Simpsons video games, not Warner Brothers. In fact, I'm surprised they even allowed them to use archives of Dan Castellaneta's characters at all. But on the other hand, it would have been wrong to make the entire franchise's inclusion be completely mute, because then, what would even be the point? Yeah, why did you even make a Bart Simpson pack if they couldn't let you use Nancy Cartwright's voices? And it's also strange that they decided to make an entire level pack on the Ghostbusters when they were extremely limited with what dialogue to use, not counting all of the swears and innuendos from the two films. Were they trying to respect Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson by not replacing them with sound-alikes? Or were they paying tribute to the original actors, especially the dead ones? Harold Ramis, William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee? Well, if that's the case, then half of the Year 2 content went against those tribute wishes by using other voice actors. I mean, Sloth's original actor passed away years ago, and they didn't use archive audio there. The original voice for E.T. had also passed away not long after the movie, but again, they still didn't use archives. Oh shit, we can't afford Mr. T or David Hasselhoff to reprise their roles. So then, what should we do? Should we use archive voice clips from the shows, like we did with Harry Potter? No, we'll just recast them with voice actors. So, it's disappointing that half of Year 2 couldn't use the original actors for the majority of franchises featured. But that doesn't change the fact that this crossover is still the biggest, most expansive, most varied, jam-packed, respectful ones that I have ever seen, and at this point, ever will. But would you believe me when I say it was originally going to be even more gigantic than it already was? And I'm not just talking about the cancelled third year of content. I'll get to that in a few minutes. I have heard rumors that they were originally going to release a few more packs for Year 2, but when coming close to the game's cancellation, they extended Wave 7 into a Wave 7.5, and Wave 9 was delayed until the game's second anniversary release date, which most likely would have been the release date for Year 3's first wave. This is evident by the total counter of gold bricks in the game. Starting from Wave 6, the start of Year 2, the total amount was going to be 1,058, but in the game's final update in Wave 9, it was reduced down to 1,016, and when you go through the trouble of getting all 1,016 and completing everything in the game, you aren't rewarded with anything. They gave you a Disco Voltron filter after getting all of the Year 1 gold bricks, but absolutely nothing after grabbing all that they gave us in Year 2. Except for an original Teen Titans Go episode, which you already would have unlocked long in advance if you had bought a Teen Titans pack. So, what could have possibly had been the cut content for year 2? Well, I'll try and figure this out with some maths. 1058 minus 1016 equals 42. Wouldn't you know it, the answer to everything. Now, every level, including story mode levels, level pack levels, and story pack levels, all have 4 gold bricks each. Finishing the level, rule breaker, finding all of the mini-kits, and rescuing a trapped character. A story mode pack would have 24 gold bricks in total when finishing all of its 6 levels, whilst a single level pack just has 4 bricks. Now, a hub world usually has roughly 28 gold bricks to collect. 42 take away 28 equals 14. 14 isn't a multiple of 4, so let's just assume the missing hub world has either 26 or 30 gold bricks, leaving us with either 12 or 16 bricks remaining. Even the highest remaining number, 16, is too little bricks for a second missing hub world. The numbers are too short for a story pack since there are only 3 or 4 levels worth of bricks, when they are usually 6 levels, and they would have to have made 3 or 4 separate level packs to fill in the gap. That would have been quite a lot, since year 1 only had 6 level packs, and adding on to year 2, that year would have had 7 or 8 level packs. Let's cut the production team some slack for now and say 7 packs. So, for year 2, we have to figure out 1 extra franchise with a new hub world and 3 level packs of either existing or new franchises from that same year. I've looked at the existing IPs again, and I've consulted websites and YouTube videos on what the scrapped IPs were going to be, and this is what I think the missing level packs are. Number 1, a Beetlejuice level pack. I find it strange how the best bit of interactivity and animations we got from Wave 9 was the original Teen Titans Go episode, which was clearly animated by the TV animation studio that made all of those bargain bin specials and movies. If they did a level pack on Mission Impossible and the Goonies of all things, movies that none of the kids of current times would have ever heard of before, why not Beetlejuice? They had voice actors doing completely original lines for all of the characters for the hub world, so why not go all out and adapt the whole movie into Lego form? While keeping it as humorous and child-friendly as possible, of course. But wait, the wiki page I screen capped here said that there were going to be 2 Beetlejuice levels. Well, that's quite abnormal. So I'll just stick with 1 level. The extra mini build will be, I don't know, Lydia's camera. The single film doesn't really have a lot to work with. Pack number 2, a Lego City Undercover level pack. Yeah, I know, it's a Lego original property, and the general public isn't interested in those as much as, say, Portal 2 or The Simpsons, but if it's based on a Lego video game featuring most of the original voice actors, reusing the same minifigure models from that game, don't you think a little continuation in this game would be a bit justified? Maybe, since you don't actually encounter Rex Fury, the upfront criminal of the original game, in the Dimensions hub world, maybe the level could be about him escaping from Albatross Island again, Chase McCain going from place to place around the city, utilizing his returning job disguise powers, along with some comedic antics with Frank, Chief Dumby, Ellie, and Mayor Gleason. The extra mini-build would be Rex Fury's monster truck, just add in a bit more vehicle variety. I'm just spitballing ideas here. And pack number 3? A Steven Universe level pack. I looked at the list of cancelled franchises, and Steven Universe was the only one of the lot that I could think of that connects with the rest of Year 2. It's a Cartoon Network original show, still airing at the time of release, fitting in alongside Adventure Time, Teen Titans Go, and the Powerpuff Girls. I haven't watched much of the show itself, so I'll just say, just do what they did with the Adventure Time level pack, where we go through 1 or 2 filler episodes from Season 1. The mini-builds would be Lion and Greg Universe's van from the intro sequence. I'm also thinking of a Pearl and Amethyst team pack and a Garnet fun pack. I have no idea what the mini-kits for each of them will be though. And this will fill in the extra Hobworld quota, since it's a new IP for the game containing the remaining 30 gold bricks. I may be wrong, some rumor busters may disagree with these decisions, but I think that I may have solved the mystery of the cancelled Year 2 content. Okay, this is me a few weeks ago while I'm editing the video. When I was looking through the footage, I realized that it said 1068 and not 1058. I've seriously made a This is a really important part of the video. I go into a lot of detail and thought behind it. And yeah, while I was looking at the game footage on this really huge ass TV screen right in front of me, I somehow misread the 6 as a 5. So there aren't 14 remaining gold bricks, there's fucking 24. The exact same amount of gold bricks that they would make for a story pack, and it's 6 levels, so fuck's sake, what's going to get a story pack in fucking wave 9? I don't know, make it Lego City Undercover to get the story pack. I know it wasn't a recent movie going around at the time. I don't see how you can stretch out the single movie from Beetlejuice into 6 levels, so I don't know, just kill me now. Just make it Lego City getting a story pack now. Forget everything I've said in the past, 7 minutes or so. Not only am I growing more retarded, I'm growing more blind with old age. Just kill me now. There were originally going to be some more team and fun packs off of existing franchises too, but they were ultimately cancelled. There was going to be a Girls Busters fun pack in Wave 6 with either Julian Holtzman or Rowan. Even though Rowan's ghost form would have looked a bit too similar to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, I think I would have preferred that pack over Holtzman, since you can already change Abby Yates into her or the other two after completing all of the movie's story pack levels. Another Adventure Time pack, also in Wave 6. If you look at this screenshot of leaked codes here and the other available packs, you can see that there was going to be another set of the series set to be released before Marceline. I'd like to assume that it was a Princess Bubblegum fun pack with a, I don't know, Lady Rainicorn mini build. Well, I mean, if they've already got Hayden Walsh voicing Starfire for the game, then why not have Bubblegum fighting gremlins and Daleks?
What have you done?
They were also going to make another Teen Titans Go pack with its own take on Robin, probably a level pack. This was definitely an early production decision, because, as you know, they already made a Robin minifigure in Year 2 in the Lego Batman movie story pack. But originally, they were going to make Batman and Joker the central characters for that pack, not Robin and Batgirl, while they make Robin be associated with Teen Titans Go. However, there were no leaks or rumors anywhere of making a Cyborg pack for Go. Why make physical figures of 4 of the Titans, or in the final product 3, and not all 5? Well, I'd like to guess that the reason why is because it was here when they discovered, say, we already made Cyborg last year, but wait, we've already made Batman, and we've already made the Joker. Why would we be selling two different versions of the same characters and thus confusing the public? And Robin plays a big role in the Batman movie, and so does Batgirl for that matter, and we haven't made a figure of her yet, so why don't we just make them different versions of the characters as unlockable skins for the already existing figures? That'll save us a bit of plastic. The Goonies were originally going to be represented with a team pack with Sloth and Chunk instead of a level pack. I have no idea why they would suddenly decide to spend more of their budget to make an entire level adapting the film instead of just making the hub world. Hermione was originally going to be part of a team pack with Ron Weasley. That one makes more sense to me than the Goonies one. Why make minifigures of only two of the film's three main characters? Why did they decide to exclude the boy who willingly sacrificed himself-ish in wizard chess? But yeah, that would have been really nice to see. Hermione with a Buckbeak mini-build, and Ron with either Aragog or a Hungarian horntail dragon. Most likely the latter one, for obvious reasons.
Can we panic now?
And finally, Supergirl and Green Arrow had convention-exclusive polybags of figures and toy tags. That's fine and good and all, but like with the missing Wave 6 packs, Oliver Queen's set number skips ahead by one after Kara Danvers. So, who was going to be in this other supposed polybag released in between them? Most have speculated that it's either The Flash or Green Lantern. Me? I'm going to assume it's good old Hal Jordan. Why not Barry Allen? Well, I'll explain that in the next section. But it seems very strange how they can introduce the mechanic of Lantern summoning points with the same iconic logo, and yet, until Raven and the Powerpuff Girls came along at the very end, the only one who could interact with them is Supergirl using hidden Red Lantern powers instead of making a figure of the much more popular Green Lantern. I didn't even know Kara was part of the Red Lantern Corps. What does she have to get so enraged over? I don't read comic books. Now that we have speculated all of the cancelled content from year 2, let's see all of the franchises that would have been planned for year 3, which never came to be. Actually, during the height of Years 2 announcement at E3, I actually made a prediction video, long since deleted, of what franchises I wanted to see in Year 3. And right off the bat, I can see a big flaw with this list. Nope, 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 and nope. Back then, I used to believe that since Disney Infinity was discontinued around a year prior, Disney would just hand over their properties over to Lego to make bank off of. But in reality, it doesn't work like that. Even though it would have been awesome to finally get a Lego DC and Marvel crossover, going through a magical, explorable Disney world, and bringing one of Traveler's Tales' earliest Lego game properties into the spotlight again, it's all just way too good to be true. I don't know what I was thinking adding in an obscure Lego theme that was discontinued around a decade beforehand, or the bombed 2017 Power Rangers movie of all things. I just heard rumors at the time that they were making a few sets based on the movie, which didn't even end up happening. Maybe they were talking about the rejected Lego Idea set. Nexo Knight was retired the same year the video was uploaded, so that clearly wouldn't have worked, and LEGO had lost the rights to making SpongeBob sets, and Mega Bloks were the ones who were doing it then. However, I actually had a pretty cool idea adding Ben 10 into the list. It had plenty of potential, don't you think? Benjamin Tennyson using his many alien powers to solve different puzzles, like heat blast for gold structures, cannonballs for gyrosphere switches, ripjaws for underwater stuff, grey matter for scale mazes, stinkfly for flight, wild mutt for digging and tracking. The possibilities would have been endless. Although, since it would have been released in 2017, the aesthetics and aliens would have most likely had been based more on the other shitty reboot that nobody likes, meaning Lego Stinkfly would have looked more like this instead of this. Okay. Now, let's go through the list of IPs and give my own 2 cents on them, throwing in a few personal ideas for packs along the way. Starting with... Number 1. Wonder Woman 2017. Well, from what I understand, LEGO Batman 3 had DLC levels and skins based off of the DCCU. You know, like Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. So I can see them adapting the latest film in the series into LEGO, a story pack walking through the events of the film, like the Fantastic Beasts and the Girlsbusters did. Although, much like how you booted up the LEGO Batman movie story levels, you would have to have placed the already released Wonder Woman figure onto the toy pad to start it up. So the new minifigure for the story pack itself would probably be Steve Trevor, the crash-landed World War I pilot that Diana tags along with in the normal human world. The portal build would be some sort of Amazonian structure, and the mini build will be... Steve's fighter plane? Or maybe a horse? I don't know anymore. The adventure world will mainly be the cities of France or London during the Great War, but somewhere there's a portal that will take you to the Amazonian island at the beginning of the film, with plenty of ground and air races, puzzles, and quests handed out by some of the Amazons. Number 2. The CW Arrowverse. This is what I was going about earlier with Green Lantern vs. The Flash, because judging by the cancelled IP list, they probably would have saved a Barry Allen figure for an entirely new adventure world based off of the Arrowverse TV series shown on CW. They already hinted at the franchise's inclusion in one of the Fantastic Beasts levels, so why not expand on what they already had? And besides, wouldn't it have felt great to have the entire Justice League as a collection of physical minifigures on any gamer's shelf? So, obviously, the only new fun pack that I could think of is The Flash, with a... treadmill mini-build? Maybe add in a new gameplay mechanic where you need a treadmill to power up a machine or device, and only fast characters like the Flash and Sonic can activate them. Maybe? And another neat idea I have, since the Arrowverse also consists of the Supergirl series and the Green Arrow series, they could re-release the convention-exclusive minifigures into a team pack, and their mini-builds would be... No, you know what? It's much harder for me to come up with mini-build ideas than minifigure ideas. The best ones that I could think of might not even work as a mini-build, or it would have just been recycling already existing ones. Like Steve Trevor's plane mini-build idea, it would have just been a rehash of the tornado from Sonic's pack. And anyway, one of the reasons the game ended up being cancelled was how expensive everything was. So maybe they would reduce the prices a little bit by only releasing minifigures for year 3? I don't know. So I'll try and come up with mini-build ideas as much as I can, but for now, I'm completely stumped.
I'm stumped.
So anyway, Barry Allen with a Treadmill, official re-releases of Cara Danvers and Oliver Queen, and the Adventure World will unfortunately have to be another city, with some iconic locations from each TV series, like the lab from the previously mentioned level. I've never seen a single thing from the Arrowverse, so I'm afraid you're gonna have to fill in the location gaps yourselves. Number 3, the Angry Birds movie. It's a kids game. Kids love Angry Birds, so much so that movie studios are willing to make 3 movies about them. So, okay. Since the movie is based off of a mobile game, keeping with the theme of video game inclusions in Dimensions, there would be a level pack going through key points of the movie as a condensed adaptation. The minifigure would, of course, be red, and the mini-builds would be a slingshot and... Stumped. Since the Portal levels integrate the orange and blue Portal gameplay, and the Sonic level pack had their subsections designed like 2D Sonic levels, I'd have to incorporate Angry Birds' slingshot gameplay into the level. How? I don't know, you pull back on the rubber band by rapidly tapping the A button or something, and the shooting bird would act like any other flying vehicle in the game, allowing the birds, that the movie itself established can't fly, to fly and hit any targets on any high structures? I don't know. The Adventure World structure seems obvious. A fully explorable take on the Bird's Island, and a portal leading to the Pig's Kingdom, where you storm their castle for gold bricks. Number 4. Pirates of the Caribbean. Hey, wait! Pirates of the Caribbean is owned and made by Disney. So, they were planning to add Disney IPs into year 3? Even if it was just the one? My mind has been officially boggled. I can imagine them making a level pack retelling one of the movies. Either the first film, The Curse of the Black Pearl, or even the latest film around the time of release, Dead Man Tell No Tales. The minifigure would obviously be Captain Jack Sparrow, and the only mini-build idea I can think of is just a pirate ship.
Stumped.
The Adventure World would really depend on the film the level pack is adapting. If it were Black Pearl, the land to explore would be... And if it were Tell No Tales, it would be... I forgot to research anything about the 2 films before recording, and this is one of the few times in my life where I can record my own voice, so I don't have time to research it now, so... sorry. Number 5. How to Train Your Dragon. Year 2's big company that they wanted to make packs for was Cartoon Network, and in Year 3, if they couldn't get the rights to use more Disney IPs, then the next big studio they would have included was DreamWorks Animation Studios. And one of the first of their movie series that I would release is the much acclaimed How to Train Your Dragon franchise. Unfortunately, I don't want to flood every single representative this year with level packs, so I had to restrict certain ones to just team packs. Here, since the latest film released near Year 3 was the second film, the third film wasn't released until 2019, I decided to have a Hiccup and Astrid team pack, with the mini-builds being their respective dragons, Toothless and Stormfly. The Adventure World would clearly be the Isle of Bucks. With loads of flying races, villages, and quests from other iconic characters. Number 6. Looney Tunes. You know, with Dimensions being a Warner Brothers game, I'm actually surprised that they didn't decide to add in one of their more popular and long-lasting kids properties in a lot sooner. Maybe they were just banking more on the third-party IPs to make people buy the content. I don't know. I've thought of a Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck team pack and a Roadrunner fun pack, just to have another character do the whole treadmill idea. No mini-build ideas though. Unlike the previous 5 franchises, there isn't really a definitive singular world that the Looney Tunes characters live in, because Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner live in a desert, Sylvester and Tweety are common house pets, Foghorn Leghorn lives on a farm, Marvin the Martian is on Mars, Speedy Gonzales is the fastest mouse in all of Mexico, and Yosemite Sam is in the West. But then other characters like Bugs Bunny, Lola Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and Elmer Fudd, there are no definitive locations with these guys. They can do any job, anywhere, anytime. So it's kinda troubling for a game like this. The best idea for an adventure world I could think of is what their world would eventually look like in Space Jam 2. A hodgepodge of different settings for the different characters. A desert, a farm, a western town, a city, a portal to Marvin's base on Mars, maybe even a gateway to Warner Brothers Studios itself. You know how meta the Looney Tunes can be sometimes. Number 7. Despicable Me. The game is targeted to kids. It has access to universal properties. So adding in Illumination's one and only cash cow is inevitable. Since the Minions are unfortunately a merchandise and marketing behemoth, I had no choice but to have their representation be a story pack, cycling through either the recently released 3rd Despicable Me film, or maybe even skimming through all 3 of the films in the 6 levels. The franchise has infected that much of the world to do any less than that. The story pack minifigures would be Gru and some random minion. The portal build would be, I don't know, Gru's house or something, and the mini build would be Gru's rocket car. The adventure world would feature Gru and his family's neighborhood, with the interior of his house and the lab, the city, Vector's lab, the prison from the 3rd film. I don't fucking know. I haven't watched anything from this franchise. I have a little bit of dignity left in me. Number 8. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh yeah, baby, this is more like it! With this being such a beloved Nicktoon with a big fanbase, I think I should deliver by giving them a level pack, going through a few episodes of the 1st season. Maybe when Aang was getting unfrozen and onwards. Hopefully it wouldn't have ended up as condensed as the M. Night Shyamalan movie. The level pack will feature Aang as the minifigure with his special airbending powers, allowing him to blow strong wind currents at enemies. The only mini-build idea that I could think of for this franchise is just Appa. I'm also thinking of adding in a Kitara and Zuko team pack, with Kitara's powers representing water and Zuko's powers representing fire. I was also thinking on adding in a Toph fun pack to represent Earth, making the quadrilogy of elements complete. But Dimensions doesn't really have anything in terms of Earth-themed powers. The game's 4th element is lightning. So, I'll just add in Toph anyway. I'm pretty sure they would have found a way. Obviously, the adventure world would be the massive lands of the 4 elements. air, water, earth, and fire, with their respective tribes, villages, temples, and also some recognizable one-off locations from various episodes too. Number 9. The Captain Underpants movie. It's a DreamWorks movie. It was a recent release at the time, so I can only think of a fun pack with the title character with no mini-build ideas. The adventure world would be the city the superhero saves and the school that the kids' characters go to. I really need to watch more films and TV shows. If only I just had the time to. Number 10. The Monsterverse. The cancelled IP list says King Kong vs. Godzilla, but that movie wouldn't be released until a couple of years after year 3, along with a slightly different title. So I can assume that they meant the Monsterverse, or the Monarch series of films that Warner Brothers distributed. By 2017, there were only 2 films from it, Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island. So I guess this was meant to be their big crossover with the two before the official crossover, after the official crossover. I honestly don't know what made them think to add these two into the game because, well, look at them. They're kaijus, giant leviathans who trample over cities that stand in their way. So I don't see them being playable in a game like LEGO Dimensions because of their sizes alone. I mean, if you made every other character as huge as Godzilla, then it would make them out to be destructive monsters when they really don't mean to. But on the other hand, if you made King Kong the same size as Gizmo or K9 or the Powerpuff Girls, then you would think that he was just some guy in a costume. Where's the strength? Where's the power? But regardless, I'd have to give them a team pack anyway, with the mini-builds being Mothra and that plain boat thing from the Skull Island movie. The adventure world would be either Tokyo or San Francisco from the 2014 movie, representing Godzilla's side, and then you'd have Skull Island not too far off on King Kong's side. This IP choice is so baffling, man. Number 11. James Bond. Here's the obligatory over Certificate 12 franchise that the kids definitely never would have heard of before and only the adult LEGO fans would understand. Since I had hardly ever seen any of the masses of films, of course, I could only think of a fun pack to represent the film series, with a Daniel Craig minifigure and an Austin Martin mini-build. The only easy mini-build idea on the whole list so far. Borrowing an idea from the Doctor's regeneration cycle idea, maybe there would be a way for Bond, the character, to change into LEGO depictions of his different actors after being killed. You know, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and etc. Or just change them into them just by holding the Y button, just like with the Ghostbusters, the A-Team, and the Goonies. The adventure world would just be major cities seen in the more popular 007 films, and it would be pretty damn similar to the Mission Impossible world, with Q sending you loads of missions in the form of side quests, plenty of spy and sneaking gameplay, and fighting off hordes of men in suits. Just a little something of an idea. Number 12. Shrek. Yeah, there was no way in hell that the movie that made DreamWorks one of the biggest animation studios in the world wouldn't be featured in this game. Now, I really like the first two Shrek movies, so I have plenty of ideas for it. I thought of having a level pack retelling the events of the first film in Lego form. The tournament at Farquaad's castle, rescuing Fiona from the dragon, working in the ogre spell twist somewhere, Farquaad taking her away to get married, a flight minigame on the dragon, and fighting off lots of knights and gods in the church at the end. The level pack will feature Shrek as the minifigure, the red dragon as one of the mini builds, and the other one would be a cauldron, I think, for Shrek to throw random Lego pieces into to blow up blocked paths. I'm thinking the same cauldron gimmick as from Lego Harry Potter years 1 to 4. I'm also thinking of a Fiona and Puss in Boots team pack, with the mini builds being the onion carriage and the giant gingerbread man from the second movie. Fiona would have a sonar smash ability in the form of her ogre singing, and Puss in Boots would be pretty athletic, doing double jumps, wall jumps, and is quite useful in combat gameplay. The adventure world would be fun, an assortment of iconic locations. Shrek's swamp, cutting to his home's interior, Lord Farquaad's kingdom, the dragon-guarded castle, but the main attraction would be far, far away. Loads of stores and areas to explore with a place this big. Number 13. Thunderbirds. What? It was already weird enough the last time they added in a strictly British-made show into the game, but at the very least, by 2015, Doctor Who was gaining a big fan base via BBC America. But Thunderbirds? This choice is just so random. It's an obscure marionette show that only had 1.5 seasons in the mid-60s. It only gained a cult following 30 years after it ended. Every attempt to bring the show over to the States were failures. The internationally released movie was a box office bomb, and I don't even think that the recent reboot was airing in America by 2017. Now, I love Thunderbirds, especially the 60s series. The practical and special effects are just pure eye candy to me. But the show's inclusion into this game would have left the American gaming audience asking, what the hell is this? I decided to base the aesthetic around the reboot series airing at the time, Thunderbirds Are Go, meaning that the International Rescue minifigure designs wouldn't be the more iconic ones with the Ice Cream Man hats. I mean, if kids were buying this game, they'd be better off with the designs they would be more familiar with, right? I've thought of a Scott Tracy and maybe Lady Penelope team pack, and the mini builds would be Thunderbird 1 for some fast speed during flying races, and Thunderbird 4 for some underwater puzzles. Yeah, I couldn't really figure out a way to incorporate the other Thunderbird crafts into a game like this. Thunderbird 2 just transports smaller vehicles, and it isn't as fast as 1. Thunderbird 3 is a space rocket, and there wouldn't even be much happening in space anyway. And Thunderbird 5 just stands idle around the Earth's orbit. Not much of a point. Just like with James Bond, you can hold down the Y button to change the physical Tracy brother into one of the others. Scott, Virgil, Alan, Gordon, and even John. The adventure world would obviously be Tracy Island, accessing the tropical exterior, like some caves and the swimming pool area, the interior hangars of each of the Thunderbirds, the main lounge with the Tracy brothers' portraits, and some secret areas that transport you to Lady Penelope's estate, and maybe even a city where you can rescue some civilians, and getting plenty of side quests from Brains, Parker, Grandma Tracy, KO, and maybe John would be calling in for a few rescue missions. Number 14. Minecraft. Yeah, this franchise is just as big as the Minions, if not bigger. So big, in fact, that they already made Minecraft Lego sets before Dimensions was even released. So I guess it makes sense. But me, personally, I played the 360 version of the game for only half an hour, got bored of it, and never touched it again. I am not the right person to talk about this, but I'll try with what I do know. Minecraft had a story mode series of games with a first season of content released from 2015 to 16, with a second season released throughout 2017. But Dimensions Year 3 would have been in production stages during that release window, so I'm gonna say that there would be a story pack based off the first season of those game episodes. Though have the central characters be the playable characters from the original game, Steve and Alex. They will be the minifigures of the pack. The mini build would be a minecart, and the portal build would be some form of a portal gate thingy. The adventure world would be what Jack Black calls the overworld, a grassy area, a sandy area, a forest, a village, an ocean, and several portal gates to different dimensions, including the Ender dimension, where there would be a mini-boss with the Ender Dragon. Number 15. The Adventures of TinTin. It may seem like another random British-known franchise to include, until you remember that there was a Spielberg animated movie based on the 40s books, The Secret of the Unicorn. But unlike the Thunderbirds movie that was bombed and then instantly forgotten about, the Tintin movie became instantly popular globally. And I wouldn't blame it. I think it's one of the best visually animated films I have ever seen. It's the only production that I can think of that does motion capture right, and not in its usual uncanny valley feeling. The graphics made a lot of the shots look like a live-action camera shot most of the time. And then there was this amazing scene which features a 2-minute long, non-stop, uninterrupted animated action set piece. Even after 15 years, I have hardly seen any other movie since then that looks this beautiful, detailed, and impressive. And definitely doesn't have an uninterrupted animated take as long as this movie's. Sadly though, the movie is the only thing I have ever seen from the Tintin franchise, so the adventure world would be based on such. Since it was such a big movie, I decided to make a level pack of the film. We go through the first act in London, the Hall, sneaking around the ship, traversing through the desert, a flashback level with Sir Francis on the unicorn, a chase sequence through the Moroccan city, and a final boss level at the docks, fighting on top of the cranes. The adventure world would feature London Town, the docks, Marlinspike Hall, and Bagar, Morocco, with the side quest characters being Captain Haddock, Thompson and Thompson, Bianca Castafoyer, and a few others. Obviously, Tintin would be the minifigure for the pack, and the mini-builds would be a motorbike with a sidecar, and if not the seaplane that crashed into the desert, then the unicorn ship itself. I mean, 3 models of the ship were essential for the movie's story and mystery. Why not have the player own an unofficial 4th one? Number 16. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Holy God, 2 out of 10. That's way more than I thought. And it's never going to get any higher. Like last time, I'm not sure if it would have been based on the original series from 1987 or the more recent reboot series on Nickelodeon airing its final season in 2017. I'm willing to assume that it would have been the reboot, but since Nickelodeon owns the franchise at this point, and its inclusion in both Nick All-Star Brawl's games was the 80s series, I'm still going to make it the 80s series. Hey, I'm just reminding you, the Goonies, the A-Team, Knight Rider, and now the Thunderbirds. There was an adult audience with this game. Some of them grew up watching James Avery as the Shredder. Just saying. My ideas here are pretty much the same as in that old deleted video of mine. I have 2 team packs in mind, featuring all 4 of the turtles. One with Raphael and Leonardo, and the other one being Michelangelo and Donatello. The mini builds would be the Turtle Van, the Technodrome, a pizza shooting device, and a Channel 6 film camera. Homer Simpson's pack gave me the idea. I realized that the adventure world will be another version of New York on top of the 2 Ghostbusters worlds, but there's really nowhere else you can set it. It was as inevitable as your next dentist appointment. The settings would be the Turtles' lair in the sewers, with a quest or 2 from Master Splinter, the Channel 6 building with April O'Neil, you can meet Casey Jones somewhere in the city, the Technodrome underground, with a Krang and Shredder mini-boss, fighting Bebop and Rocksteady in Central Park, a portal that takes you to Dimension X with a quest from the Neutrinos. The possibilities with this show are just endless. Number 17. Universal Monsters. What this is referring to are those old movies from 1913 to 1957 of famous movie monsters you have seen in every TV show at this point. You know, Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Basically, the franchise derived from the Dead on Arrival Dark Universe. I didn't expect something this overly referenced and parodied to be included in here. Nor am I disappointed either. I think it's alright. My ideas would be a team pack with Frankenstein's monster and the Wolfman, and a Gilman fun pack. The Creature from the Black Lagoon. No minikin ideas. Frankenstein would have strength powers, the Wolfman would have tracking and digging abilities, and Gilman would be able to swim fast underwater, like Aquaman. The adventure world will be some hodgepodge of spooky settings. A cemetery, a haunted house, the Black Lagoon, Dracula's castle, and etc. And the quest characters would include the Mummy in some hidden ancient tomb, Dracula in his castle, Mr. Hyde in a haunted house, the Invisible Man, and the Phantom of the Opera. Number 18. The Smurfs. Another random pick, but okay. A team pack with Papa Smurf and Smurfette. No mini-build ideas. The adventure world will be the Smurfs' Toadstool Village, with some quests from some other Smurfs, and a portal that leads you to Gargamel's lair, where you either fight him in a mini-boss, or you do some puzzles to rescue some captured Smurfs. Jesus, I'm saying Smurf more than the Smurfs themselves do. Smurf, 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 Smurf. Stop it. Move on. Number 19. The Lego Ninjago movie. Yeah, given how they had made packs and in-game content on the previous 2 Lego movies, this one was inevitable. In fact, most people have speculated that the video game made to promote the movie released later on was originally produced with the LEGO Dimensions engine all ready for Year 3, but after the game was cancelled, they scrambled and rushed to make the gameplay, the UI and things its own separate game. It's not really that bad of a theory. again. Just like the previous Lego Batman movie, this will be another story pack with 6 levels going through the events of the film. The minifigure would be Lloyd, but unlike the previously released gold attire, he will be wearing his black and green ninja suit from the movie, just to be different. The mini build would be Lloyd's Green Ninja Mech Dragon, and the portal build would be some ancient Asian-esque temple. The adventure world would obviously be Ninjago City, creative name, a bamboo forest area, Garmadon's lair, and a portal leading to Jackie Chan's shop from the beginning of the film. Like with the Teen Titans and the Lego Batman movie characters, you can scan in previously released Ninjago characters from year 1 and hold down the Y button to turn them into the Ninjago movie versions of themselves, and each of them would have their own elemental powers. Like the Avatar figures: fire, earth, water, lightning, and ice. I don't see how ice is much different from water, since you have to freeze water in order to have ice. Whatever. Number 20. Mega Man. Another good idea for a video game inclusion. If anything, it would give the child audience a much easier time with the franchise before the NES games would rip their balls off with their difficulty. Since it's a video game franchise, it has to be a level pack in order to get acquainted with its own specific gameplay, like Portal, like Sonic, like Angry Birds, like Minecraft. It's only natural. The level story would be a bit original, finding different robot masters from across the 10 games, and eventually Dr. Wily in his castle. Although, since it's a Lego game level, it will be strictly linear, as opposed to choosing which boss to fight first. And much like the Sonic level, the Mega Man level would be mostly 2D, with you mainly shooting loads of robots and enemies on screen, with a little bit of platforming. But there will be secret entrances to mini-kits and secret rooms by holding the left thumbstick up in those 2D sections. Or even attempts of Mega Man shooting in 3D, a bit like Mega Man 64. Or the later Mega Man X games or something. The minifigure would obviously be Rock in his Mega Man form, and the mini-builds would be Rush to dig and help him fly, and Beat to also help him fly. Easy choices. The adventure world would be a futuristic 21st century city, with plenty of side quests from Dr. Light, Roll, Dr. Wily even, and you'd probably get to fight a couple more extra robot masters across the city. Number 21. The Croods. The last DreamWorks property originally meant to be represented was 2013's The Croods. A pretty decent movie. The emotional stuff in the second half is better than the first half, but I think this inclusion could work from the adventure world alone. It's a very colorful, expansive land that's always changing, for better or for worse. Even though most of the land collapsed in on itself during the events of the film, I'd imagine the adventure world would feature a canyon area with the family's old cave, an ocean area, a desert area with those whale creatures, a jungle area with big trees, and a rocky area with tar pits. All that I could think of for a fun pack was Eep as the minifigure, and the mini-build being the giant saber-toothed tiger seen throughout the movie. The world would feature quests handed out by the rest of the family, and Guy, and maybe some mini-bosses with the big, dangerous, carnivorous creatures, if you traverse far enough. Number 22. Tom and Jerry. I'm surprised Warner Brothers didn't include this famous cartoon they own a lot sooner. Now, I think that Tom and Jerry is my favorite classic cartoon series. The enjoyably violent slapstick, the dynamic between the two, the jazzy soundtracks in each short, and of course, Tom Screams. And given the way that the studio was shoehorning the two into reanimated classic movies for a period of time, having them interacting with the Wicked Witch of the West again in this game, it wouldn't have been too bad of an idea. I'm thinking of a team pack with the iconic silent duo. No mini-build ideas. And even though Tom can be anything at any point in time and nobody would question it, from a pianist to a 17th century French guard, from being stranded out at sea to being a common house cat, it's best to keep things unique and simple by having the adventure world be a suburban household with a kitchen, a living room, and a garden with Spike's doghouse. However, the characters would be the same size as Jerry to make it more explorable and bigger than it actually is. Again, it would have been weird seeing Godzilla and King Kong the same size as a mouse, but that's the best I can think of. Number 23. Extra characters. Since I had heard rumors that they were going to be going back and making additional character packs for previously established franchises from years 1 and 2, I might as well do the same here. But instead of having packs with mini-builds, cause I'm really running out of steam here, I would make these extra packs polybags with minifigure pieces and toy tags. Think the Supergirl and Green Arrow bags, but a bit bigger to add in more characters. Looking back on the overall franchise list, here are my off-the-wall ideas for additional characters. The Wizard of Oz. I'd have the whole quartet of main characters. Dorothy with a little Toto, who might use her ruby slippers to teleport to other places. You know, like Newt Scamander's apparition points. The Scarecrow, who, given how I'd like their desires to be played into account, he can unironically use puzzle kiosks. And with that mindset, the Tin Man could use his new Heart of Gold to melt down golden structures and walls. And the Cowardly Lion? Use his tail as a whip, a lasso, and a swinging vine, like Finn the Human's vine sword? I don't know. The Simpsons. I was thinking of adding Marge, Lisa, and Maggie to the mix, along with Homer and Bart. I mean, if they were going to make a Bart pack, despite them not having permission to use his voice, why not pointlessly make figures for the rest of the family? I'm thinking Marge would have super strength and can use puzzle kiosks. Lisa can have the same puzzle power, and she and Maggie can both go through vents and have different means of sonar smash. Lisa would use her saxophone, and Maggie would just cry. Doctor Who. I just had to. I had to include a Missy figure. They are just that popular and beloved a villain in the show. And just like the other Time Lord in the game, she could regenerate into her previous forms after dying. You know, Roger Delgado, the one that had been in the oven for too long, Anthony Ainley, Eric Roberts, Derek Jacobi, John Sim, and then cycling back to Michelle Gomez. Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I'd make figures for the rest of Mystery Inc. Fred, Daphne, and Velma. I know Shaggy and Scooby are the most iconic, memorable, and most kid-appealing ones of the group, but they can't really solve mysteries together without the other three. I mean, Daphne is the optimistic, more positive one of the gang. Velma is the smartest one, who can research each spooky place and can tell what the equipment the villains were using in minutes. And Fred sets up the traps, drives the mystery machine, bribes Scooby and Shaggy with Scooby snacks. I don't really know. Harry Potter. I'm also thinking on adding in those cancelled characters I discussed earlier that were originally planned to be released in year 2. Like, for starters, I would add Ron Weasley in there, because why make figures of 2 out of the main trio? Yeah, and for the sake of it, I would also add Bellatrix Lestrange and Draco Malfoy in there as well. Why not? Adventure Time. My aforementioned idea of Princess Bubblegum being the scrapped Wave 6-pack. If they weren't going to include her there, why not here? Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sure that some fans would have loved to have had physical minifigures of more Sonic characters before the official LEGO set line released a few years later. Tails would fly, fix broken machines, and do puzzle kiosks. Knuckles could track, dig, and have super strength. Amy could smash down walls with her hammer. Shadow can teleport with chaos control and have sonic super speed. And Blaze could melt down ice and gold objects with her fire powers. I could keep going, but I need to restrain myself. Teen Titans Go. The only other franchise that I could make additional figures for is Teen Titans. Sorry, Chunk. I would add in the Robin figure that they were going to originally make, and then add Go's take on Cyborg along with it. I mean, if the show itself has become the equivalent of jingling keys in front of a child's face, or, in this day and age, putting an iPad in front of them to distract them while you're eating at the restaurant, then I'm sure kids would have eaten these packs up, right? Not literally, I hope. And lastly, number 24, Lord Vortech. Everyone who knows any behind-the-scenes information about this game knows all about the unused voice files from Gary Oldman saying additional dialogue as the game's original main villain, Lord Vortech.
Let us master build a new dimension together, wild style. Expo, analyze this alien contraption. Oh, I forgot. I banished you. Who you gonna call? Lord Vortech! Ooh. Well, it's no foundation element, but I'll take it. Some of us don't need a fancy blue box to travel between dimensions, Doctor. I leave the rest to you. Do not fail me.
The dialogue itself indicated that he was actually intended to be a playable character at some point. And trust me, I would have loved to have seen how LEGO would have made a physical minifigure of him with his unique transparent galaxy design. There's also one other thing to mention about him. There's a post-credit scene after the game's main story mode where we see the remains of Lord Vortech as a 1x1 galaxy brick. We see a hand with a red sleeve picking it up, and we then see the brick's power absorbing into him and possibly becoming the new Vortech. This game's equivalent of Venom, if you will. That scene, combined with the unused dialogue, means that they had a big plan to include Vortech in the game later on, most likely an original final level explaining either the origins of how Vortech came to be, or a follow-up explaining who this mysterious red-sleeved man was. Me? I'd like to think that it's not a character from an existing franchise. I like to think that it was just some random dude who found a piece of the galaxy just lying there on the street, and he venomed himself into Lord Vortech, becoming corrupted with ultimate power and wanting to rule over the world, and then the multiverse. in the cancelled level, it would have explained his home base in the center of the universe, how he built Expo, the little robot companion from the story mode, how he knew about Foundation Prime and how he found it, seeing visions of different dimensions coexisting with each other, and then, after the level, Vortex's adventure world would be an explorable version of his mysterious space dimension, where his powers originated from. And I like to think that the quest characters here would just be random characters from the near 50 different franchises, making it a final celebration of this massive 3-year-long crossover of a game. So, overall, LEGO Dimensions has a lot of problems. It has an interactive gameplay style that can give your arms a workout. Some versions of the game are more functional than others. The sets were too expensive when compared to the rest of the dying Toys to Life market. There are no physical paper instructions with the fun team and level packs. It's disappointing seeing some of the iconic roles replaced with voice actors, and personally, driving around the world in tiny little mini-build versions of certain vehicles is underwhelming, honestly. I mean, how cool would it have been to drive around these worlds in the actual life-sized in-game models of the DeLorean, the Mystery Machine, the Simpsons car, Hogwarts Express, the A-Team's van, and Kit? That would have been a lot more exciting, right? But after replaying it recently, I'm still pretty impressed overall on what they did manage to deliver in the end. An extraordinary list of IPs under the same roof, unforgettable interactions from each character, a well-crafted and woven story mode that ties it all together, giving gamers the chance to play and build with Legos either all over again or for the first time, pretty good gameplay that doesn't strafe too far away from the other LEGO games around the time, and if you ask me, I'd like to think that this game brought some of these franchises even closer to the limelight than if they didn't. I mean, think about it. After the game's cancellation, they made one more new LEGO DC game, one more LEGO movie. It brought Ninjago enough sales to make its own movie in the same series. The Wizard of Oz is still getting spin-off productions made. The Simpsons is still ongoing, despite hardly anyone watching it anymore. Doctor Who is still as beloved as ever. Sort of. Back to the Future got a musical adaptation. Ghostbusters got 2 new movies based off of the original continuity. Scooby-Doo is still pumping out new shows, movies, and spin-offs even after its 50th anniversary. Not you. Jurassic World movies are still being made. Adventure Time continued on with its series finale, as well as Fiona and Cake a few years later. The Fantastic Beast movies kept on going, before rightfully dying and leaving things unresolved halfway through. The Mission Impossible movie still had Tom Cruise doing unbelievable stunts to this day. Sonic kept on growing stronger and better until its peak with the recent Year of Shadow, which included 3 beloved movies, tons of LEGO sets, a team-up episode with OKKO, and the game series getting more and more praise. Beetlejuice got a sequel, Lego City Undercover got ported to all major consoles, the original Powerpuff Girls were added into multiverses, and Teen Titans Go soon became more of a celebration show of all things DC superheroes, Warner Brothers, and Hanna-Barbera, with frequent crossover episodes with half of the franchises seen in this very game. Oh yeah, and I made a bunch of cringy, unwatchable stop-motion videos with this game's minifigures. This is the kind of magic that can only happen once, and the magic can hardly be replicated again. only something that features old movies and shows from most people's childhoods, but is still able to bring their original actors back while they were still alive. It's just magical and amazing to me. It could only be done by people who understand and respect each source material, and their endless Easter egg inclusions say as such. And the fact that it was released during some of these franchises' respective anniversaries, 15th, 25th, 30th, 35th, 50th, it feels all the more celebratory. I'm glad I enjoyed this game during the time I did, and while I'm glad that I have played it all over again, I am now happy to have now done all that I could with it, expressed my opinions on it in detail, relived some memories. I am now finally ready to pack it all away and move on to a future crossover event just as big. So, the Iron Giant didn't want to fight anyone in his original movie, and yet he is willing to fight Agent Smith, Jason Voorhees, and Samurai Jack in the Batcave. Okay.